From Alberta's deficit-heavy budget to library guidelines back on the radar, women's hockey in the Oval Office, and art on ice, you have to see to believe. Our Primetime This Week panel is in, and joining us this evening, Danielle Paradis, a freelance writer and associate professor of journalism at MacEwan University, and Carissa Halton is an author, speaker, consultant, and facilitator. Good evening to you both, and let's begin with Alberta's fiscal forecast.
Budget 2026 makes tough choices and keeps our focus where it belongs, on what matters most to Albertans.
The government is seeing a lot of red, projecting a deficit of $9.4 billion this year, followed by $7.6 billion next year and $6.9 billion the year following. The finance minister blames population increase, volatile resource revenues, bad federal policies, and global market shifts. A promise, though, to maintain public priorities draws this response from the opposition.
Never has an Alberta government spent so much money and delivered so little results for Albertans. After 7 years of UCP government, life is demonstrably more difficult for Albertans in almost every aspect of our lives.
Now, there is also a big pill to swallow. By running deficits in 3 straight years, the government risks ignoring its own rules.
The consequences are political. We created these rules and I'm breaking them. So it bothers nobody more than it does me.
No surplus cash over the next number of years means no additions to the Heritage Savings Trust Fund. Projected growth is based on money that is already there. And the minister says it will soon be up to Albertans to determine what their priorities are.
There will be lots of questions, no doubt, and there should be at kitchen tables everywhere about, is this the right tax structure for the province?
The government says it is not making massive program cuts and will not raise personal income taxes. Danielle, do deficits matter anymore, politically speaking? What do you take away from the Smith government's approach to challenging financial times?
Yeah, I think it's been a while since deficits mattered in the sense of the Klein era, although I know that's something that Albertans do like to harken back to with fondness. But because we're seeing this continued reliance on oil and gas revenues, because we see either the lack of will for a sales tax or a income tax, then you're likely to keep seeing this during a difficult economic situation. So unless the realities change, then nothing else is going to change in the budget. But Alberta, we love that oil and gas roller coaster.
Carissa, what do you expect to come of the kitchen table discussions, as the minister put it? Are Albertans being pushed enough here to actually entertain talk of something like a provincial sales tax?
I think the kitchen table talks are going to be about affordability. People care that, services increasing. If you're a senior, you're going to see in this budget that you can access senior benefits, it's got a higher threshold. You're going to see service fees. You're seeing grants being reduced for nonprofits. And so I think people are going to see, they're seeing that, but they're also worried about the cost of their groceries. We're still in the middle of this affordability crisis. And the truth is that as human beings, at least for me, maybe I can just speak for me. I don't like trade-offs. I don't want debt. I don't want taxes, nor do I want services. And I think this is a really challenging conversation to sort of put to a democracy. Do you want to pay more? The truth is we do pay more in lots of other areas. And so I appreciate that they've raised the question about a provincial sales tax. I think it's been a long time that we've been talking about it. And certainly, I think we really need to investigate it as a government. I guess I would challenge them, if they really want to know what Albertans think, is to add this to their referendum questions in the fall. Because if this is a conversation we need to have, then why don't we throw it on there too, since we're putting everything else there?
Well, Danielle, speaking of referendums, how do you see this budget playing at a time when pressure continues to build over the ever-divisive issue of a referendum on separation?
Mm-hmm. Well, you'll note that the government is still communicating this issue of immigration being responsible for a lot of our problems. So in that way, they're tying to both their consistent messaging about immigrants being the problem, the referendum, and hopefully, I guess for them, trying to appease the base that's concerned that the government isn't doing enough for issues, and that's what's causing the separation discussion. But that said, I mean, the separatists should probably have a look at this budget and wonder how we're going to be an independent country when we are projecting $23.9 billion, and that's before you get into the need for some kind of federal government to be set up in the province.
All right. Next up, the Alberta government says it will be looking at guidelines for some public libraries, specifically a number of libraries attached to schools in the province.
We're not going to be banning any books, and those 55 co-located libraries are part of a network of over 300 across the province. We'll have more to say on the details soon.
It's a pending move the opposition is taking issue with.
Instead of focusing on the things that people care about, have you seen Albertans saying, we need to make sure that the librarians are not giving kids smut? Nobody's saying that. But she is forever looking for distractions. She loves to go to culture wars. She loves to blame people because she can't defend her own record.
The Premier said this week the guidelines will focus on making books accessible for older students but unavailable for younger children.
We do want to continue with a policy of protecting children from incredibly graphic, pornographic material, so pornographic that many of you can't even show it on your networks because of the nature of the pornography. So we'll continue to protect children from that, while also balancing the public interest and making sure libraries fulfill their responsibilities.
A ministerial order took effect at the start of this year requiring material with sexually graphic images be removed from school library shelves. Carissa, I'll start with you first this time. What's your read on the government implementing some form of guidelines in these crossover libraries, but saying it won't be a book ban?
I mean, it's ironically or perhaps not Freedom to Read Week. I grew up in a community where there was lots of moral censorship of TV and of books, magazines. But guess what? I still found a way to read all the dirty bits in Clan of the Cave Bear. So whatever they want to call it, book banning, idea banning, the reality is, I mean, I guess as an author, I really think that parents and communities are absolutely capable of setting the boundaries around what their kids are seeing. Without the government's help. So I guess maybe it's an idea ban if they want to call it that.
Danielle, months after all the contention over school divisions being ordered to pull books from library shelves, what do you feel came of that whole situation, and are there lasting impacts?
I think it definitely was a new area of government overreach, in that the government feels compelled to do the job that librarians are paid to do, and introduce us to this somewhat farcical idea I've never seen proven, that children are being introduced to smut in libraries. And so I think that didn't necessarily come from Alberta. That's an idea that we've seen in the United States for some time, but it's going to have a continuing, lasting impact. It undermines the institutions of public trust, the idea that, the people who are responsible for helping your children learn throughout the day are in fact irresponsible. It's certainly not something that I ever grew up with. My librarian was somebody who introduced me to all kinds of books, and it was at the age appropriate level. And I just can't imagine, as if you're a parent, having to worry about this, especially when it's essentially a non-issue.
All right, time for us to take a bit of a break, but when we come back, post-Olympic blowback on the U.S. president and an Alberta work of art, it just might take your breath away. More from our Primetime This Week panel in a moment. Welcome back. The Milano Cortina Winter Games have come and gone, and while memories of incredible competition remain, drama of another sort continues to unfold in the wake of the Olympics, one where the U.S. president attempted to stick handle around controversy while celebrating the men's hockey gold medal victory.
The American women who will soon be coming to the White House.
Now, that's news to members of the gold medal women's team who declined a State of the Union invite after catching wind of Donald Trump joking in a post-game call with the men's team.
We're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that. Absolutely.
Since that call, we've received so much love and support, and from different brands and different celebrities and just people from all over just congratulating us.
I thought it was sort of a distasteful joke, and unfortunately that is overshadowing a lot of the success.
Members of the men's team are having to address the issue as well.
It's unfortunate that, that kind of occurred. We have nothing but love and respect for the women's team and what they were able to accomplish.
Yeah, we should have reacted differently. We know that we are so excited for the women's team. We have so much respect for the women's team.
Despite the controversy, Donald Trump also plans to award Winnipeg Jets goaltender Connor Hellebuck with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, nation's highest civilian honor. Danielle, what do you hope comes of this controversy?
I hope that people see that the women's hockey teams, both in Canada and the U.S., are incredibly talented people and athletes, and that this sort of joking is just, it's so derogatory to people who spend so much time and effort. Like, anyone who's played hockey knows it's your entire life, and I can't believe that we would see women just treated this way, as the butt of a joke. So I do hope that people take that seriously, and that they show respect for the women in their lives who do sports.
Carissa, what's the likelihood it will have a lasting impact on gender dynamics?
Is 0 too cynical? I think that the PWHL is going to continue to bust their butt to provide income and a really critical opportunity for professional hockey players, to show the world that female athletes can do it just as well, and it's just as fun, it's just as fast. I hope too that we see that people actually send our female athletes love with our attention, with our eyeballs, with our discretionary spending dollars. So I don't think that this is going to have a lasting impact on its own, but I think really things like the PWHL do have lasting impacts, and I have hope in that.
Danielle, consult your crystal ball, if you would. What do you see happening if it is that the gold medal women's team actually accepts the invitation, attends the White House? How uncomfortable a conversation could that end up being?
They've definitely done a lot of polite declining, like, oh, we're going to have to check our schedule. It reminds me a little bit of you get invited on a date and you don't really want to go, but you don't really want to be mean. So you're thinking, like, oh, sorry, just really busy that day, I have to wash my hair. I would say the likelihood is low.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, one more topic, and it is the confluence of art and nature at the foot of the Rockies in Alberta, and it is the work of an American artist.
In this case, I create a portrait with charcoal on the ice, a figure scarred from life and emerging like a baptism.
David Papa created what he calls earth fresco over the span of 2 days on the ice of Abraham Lake. That's located along the David Thompson Highway, east of the Icefields Parkway between Jasper and Banff. He says it's one of the only lakes where during winter you can see methane bubbles frozen beneath the surface and where the wind polishes the ice into pure glass. The piece was done in collaboration with Travel Alberta. Carissa, what strikes you most about this work of art and the fact that it's created right here in Alberta?
Well, that's pretty awesome. I love ephemeral art where it reminds us that time, life, money, the ice, none of it's going to stay frozen, none of it's going to hold. And so enjoying it for this moment is something that, it encourages us to do. So it's a beautiful idea and obviously a wonderful artist.
Danielle, what do you make of using ice as the canvas for such a unique work of art?
Yeah, it was beautiful. Like Carissa was talking about, just the ephemeral nature of it. It's going to exist and then it's going to go away. So that's an interesting little metaphor. I think that it's a unique and fresh thing to do, and it also has the advantage of showing some of the beautiful geography in Alberta. So I really loved it.
All right. We have, how about this? Enough time for either a winner or a loser. Danielle?
Okay. I will give you a win that sounds a little bit odd. So Nina Dumas, Nana Pope Dumas, we're able to say her name now because there was a publication ban lifted just the other day in court. The sentencing for her death is today, where she was killed by her stepmother. So it's a dark win, but it is a win to be able to put a name to a young Indigenous child who died under tragic circumstances. All right, Carissa, last 25 seconds to you.
I guess I'd just say simply the Alberta budget.
There you go. Short and sweet. All right, we'll have to leave it there. Great to see you both. Thank you for this. Hope you have an awesome weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. You too.